Hello and welcome back. We're on our second question of Acting Black. This one will be directed towards Greg Goodman. Do you subscribe to the notion that there are black people and there are N-words, and if so, why?
Of course there's black people and there's N-words. Nigga is technically means ignorant. So there's niggas in every race. So of course there would be black niggas. And black people,
That's strong.
it's true.
I think that's truth. I agree with that.
There's niggas
That's
in every
true.
race. If you want to go by the, the definition, the written Webster definition of it, it's niggas in every race. This happens to be black niggas too. But we're the only race that really prides ourselves on being niggas. And that's where acting black comes into play. But like I said, we fit into that box. And in that box happens to be a lot of, to quote Dave Chappelle, niggerdom. it goes, being a nigga and acting black all goes hand in hand. It all goes hand in hand because the acting black is basically acting like a nigga in most other people's eyes.
Oh, you mean acting black as in?
Yeah, acting black, like the way you
like
mean it, like
top.
acting black.
Okay.
It goes hand in hand with being a nigga. That's what it is.
I think.
Acting black is acting like a nigga in most of society's eyes.
Yeah, and I think the reason why we get that perception is because in entertainment purposes where people are, commodifying off of this one stereotypical ghetto, glorifying, the drug life and glorifying, those types of entertainment, it's being made fun of. And also being idolized to a sense because they could live vicariously through that quote, that perception that they're putting out there. But they're like, I'm not like that, but I can, but this is like a cool way to be. And like when I want to be quote unquote down or quote unquote cool, this is how I'm going to act. I think that's a way that we are perpetuated against. And I think that popular media perpetuates black people as being ignorant. And that stems way back, it has historical ties stemming way back to slavery. I think that, a lot of times people will be like, well, why are you bringing up slavery in these types of instances? Because it's so perverse how the ideologies that stem in slavery are being shown now just in a different light. You had the slavery where it was legal, where African Americans were regarded as 3/5 of a person, to now where they just like, all right, well, we can't necessarily per se demean them as 3/5 of a person, but let's call them niggers, these ignorant people. Let's have them be in this type of box. And whenever they try to break out the box and present another image of black people, let's make sure they don't sell well. Let's make sure that it's not a profitable thing. And so what your comments had remind me of that.
Yeah, it's...
I know certain people who go around saying I am the N-word. Like, they embody that and they live that way. They go, man, I'm just another. And I'm like, okay. I don't see any other race going around saying why is it only black people? And maybe it's because I haven't encountered other races saying it. Maybe they do, I don't know. But for the most part, African Americans are the only ones going around saying, oh, I'm just like females say I'm the B word. I'm a bad, but I think other races do that too now.
Yeah.
But still, like with the N word, mostly African Americans go around saying, oh, and then it's fine.
Well, the reason why that happens is because this is just my own personal theory. I haven't done the research, but it's one of those things where they already have the feeling because of our past history and what they've experienced that that's the way the world looks at them already. So they're just like, if you're gonna treat me like a nigga, that's just how I am. I'm a nigga. But that's just all it is to it. That's what I'm gonna be, and that's how I'm gonna act. Even cats in college, dudes that graduated high school with 3.9 grade point averages getting scholarships, they'll still be like, I'm that nigga. Because that's just, it's part of the swag. it's part of the swag and bravado that comes along with their experience and everything else. It's the way that they've been treated. You know, it's in the history. I mean, since we've come to this country, till we leave this country, or this country falls off or whatever, no matter what, in this country, we'll always be that, to a degree, in other people's eyes. And they've taken that and we've taken that and we've embraced it.
I'd say they still. I haven't embraced
I'll
it.
say we, I still, you know, even
You don't have to embrace it for it to be.
So,
I think the people who have embraced it get the most attention. So, and they get highlighted all the time and presented as, oh, look, there's these certain type of people, they act like that, they classify themselves like that. And so, you know, then you begin to think that that's how a lot of the majority acts, because that minority has been capitalized and commodified and just sold like that.
I said that's just what it is. Like, no matter what. All right, when I was in the Air Force, there was this white chick that was there. She had never actually, she was from Minnesota, she had never actually met a real black person in her entire life. But she knew a lot about black people from television.
Or she thought she did.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. So, you know.
And it's sad.
It's just the
Did
way
she
you're
ever
gonna
act black around your tribe?
Yeah. She tried.
It did work. I wanted to
She took it
also
real
highlight
old school
one more
on me.
thing about how you talk about college, you know, those who are really smart trying to take upon that type of like ignorant lifestyle or like act quote unquote black. Especially what I found out when I was in school at UVA. Sorry, I had to rip that. But when I was in college,
it's like,
there were other smart black guys who would act quote unquote, you know, what they classify as ghetto, you know, act black, like sag their pants, you know, but like try to speak slang and stuff like that, and try to say that they came from the bottom, they started from the bottom, now they're here.
Wow.
And they didn't.
wow.
They grew up in, sorry, just use a Drake reference, but it's
Okay.
it's accurate in this point. And they didn't. They grew up in suburbia. They've never experienced that type of hardship per se.
There's some rough
And-
cul-de-sacs out there.
You know,
Well,
And-
can I ask that question in a different way? Because I mean, like that doesn't negate some of the camaraderie they may have with some. I mean, like that doesn't mean that you shouldn't speak slanguage because you come from a certain place. I mean, what does that have to do with it?
no, but I think
Exactly.
what I was trying to say that they really didn't necessarily. They grew up upper, like middle
So you're
class.
saying
So that's how they have to act.
They're
So
looking-
they don't.
What
they're
I'm
not,
saying is that they're trying to act a certain way when they could have just been themselves. I know, well, maybe I'm in
What
the
if that is them?
stereotype as well.
What is that? What if that is them?
But I don't know. I think
What?
they were acting like a stereotype that they necessarily didn't embody, or at least that I thought they didn't embody.
It could
when I
be
got
all in who you hang out with too, because you know if you hang out
But
with certain
they
people,
all
you pick up
acted
their
like that.
mannerisms and vernacular and
And they-
everything else.
Let's hear from Danielle. Danielle, go ahead.
Here, why is it an issue for black people to sag their pants, speak in the dialect of Ebonics, and get classified in such a negative way? But when white people, you know, wear their khakis and the girls wear their pearls and they speak in a certain dialect, why is that not classified as bad? Why is it that's who they are as opposed to black people? Why are they acting in a certain way, being ignorant? But as they're acting proper,
Because
and that's
it's not-
okay.
Because that kind of thing has never been associated with anything bad.
Yeah, it's not. A
Although
negative
the
stereotype.
ones that you know, the real buffy, preppy, you know, kind of people are usually the absolute worst criminals. Rich white
Yes.
guys are the worst criminals ever. I'll be real, there's no nice people that have gotten filthy rich. In order
I mean,
to get
there
that,
are
You don't know that.
There are some.
name 3.
We
Bill
don't necessarily.
Cosby.
No, I'm talking about filthy
Dylon.
rich. When I'm talking about, I'm talking about billions.
What?
We're
Not
talking
billions.
about
I'm talking about wealthy.
The 1% of the 1%.
The 1%.
Well, that one dude, the Oracle of Omaha, is pretty nice. He's a nice guy. Warren Buffett's pretty nice.
I'm sure.
From what
Warren,
you know.
I'm sure.
Well,
Warren Buffett
yeah,
in
I
his
don't have
time-
Thanksgiving dinner with Warren
That's the
Buffett, but
point.
yeah.
But look, that's what I'm saying though.
But how would you know if he's a terrible person? If that's, I'm gonna go to the website. Guy on the couch, we're having it out up here, man. What you got, man?
All right, question number 2. Do you subscribe to the notion that there are black people and that there are big N's? And if so, why? The second response comes from Imprez. He says, there are people of all colors, races, nationalities, and walks of life that are N-words by definition. To me, the word means ignorant. It's not specific to any group of people. Back to you.
Great, and that was actually said by you originally. So, anything else? Anything else to add on to that to this conversation? I suppose.
I'm glad that we are starting to come into a generation where people don't necessarily see the N-word as a group of people. I think we have to remember that that word is associated strongly, it has been strongly associated with African Americans for a long time. And I think that when we do the N-word, debate, roundtable, that will come up. So I just wanted to kind of highlight that.
Go ahead, Danielle.
No, I mean, what you were saying earlier, I definitely have seen the stereotypes. Like, if you're the only black person in a room, you automatically feel like you have to be that token black person. And then you start subconsciously acting black, whatever that means. So, no. Or you might do the exact opposite. You try to assimilate with the people that you're with.
Not quite.
Yes. Well, not you per se. I'm talking about in general. I've known a lot of guys African American guys who are around, white guys, and they act like that token black guy. And it's like, why are you doing all that? Like, one of my best friends, her brother, he's in a white fraternity, and he's that token black guy. He's that black guy. Anytime they want to, ask questions about the hood, and he is not from the hood, but he asks, oh man, yeah, I know, I blast Weezy, I listen to that. I'm like,
I'm sorry.
and it just really bothers me, but it happens.
Wow.
That's the upper middle class guy you were talking about.
Yeah, and
Okay.
they don't
It does.
Wait,
just
no.
be, well,
Well, my thing was because I've been the only black guy in the thing. I've just been myself.
How did you act? What is yourself? Did you act
Just
black
how
sometimes?
No, I acted exactly how I'm acting now. I couldn't speak in the exact same way like before when I would be around my friends in ninth grade. More black people were around. I could say luncheon, right? Luncheon just means someone's bugging out, tripping out. So the first time I'm in this other school.
Still aren't clear.
Yeah, well, I'm just saying the first time when I was in this
Still not
other.
making that clear, sir.
The first time when I was in that other school, I was like, man, you lunching, right? I said that to someone. They're like, no, lunch isn't until. I was like, never mind. I can't. So I obviously couldn't use that word because they're not familiar.
So then you weren't acting yourself.
No, I was acting myself. I just didn't. I just used different words to say the same thing.
no, there's a way
Yeah.
that you speak with people who you're really comfortable with. You have different dialects or different ways that how you act, and you're still acting like yourself.
Yeah.
With like how your friends, or you're at your job, what you would necessarily with your family or your kids per se. I mean, some people don't, but there's a lot of code switching. That's the term. Code switching that sometimes happens.
I mean, to make yourself understood the same way is fine with me. I don't think that's like changing your
And
entire
code switching isn't
personality.
necessarily a bad thing. It's just
Yeah.
something. It's a reality. That African Americans usually
I just
tend
wanted
to
to be
do
understood.
more so
That's
than
pretty much.
a lot
See,
of others.
no, I can't say that to a bunch of white people. What I do generally in any new place, whether black, white, male, female, or whatever, if I'm the new guy there, I go there to make everyone else feel uncomfortable. That way, everything's normal. Because I don't want to be the new guy that's uncomfortable, so I act that way around everyone. I'll say outrageous things. I'll do whatever I want, generally. And that's how I act all the time, because it works out better for everyone. Well, not
For you.
everyone, just me. I can care less about everyone else.
And with that said, the nonprofit will now go and plug its website. We'd like to plug a couple things. Our BA Book of the Month. For this month, it was the Willie Lynch letter and How to Make a Slave. That was a great book. It's more of a pamphlet, actually. It's not really that long, but if you read it, it's a really good read.
7 pages, something like that.
It's a little longer. It's a little longer than that, but it's good. Also, the recommended websites we'd like to big up is Kids on Board, which is basically getting it's a nonprofit that tries to get. Well, it's going to be a for-profit business, but it's to promote kids educationally through sports that involves boards, such as like skateboarding or snowboarding or things of that nature. So it's pretty positive. You should check it out. With all that said, we'll be back with the third issue right after this.